So a few years ago, I came across a George Carlin comedy special, and he said,
So to get around a lot of this, I decided to worship the sun. But, as I said, I don't pray to the sun. You know who I pray to? Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci. Two reasons. First of all, I think he's a good actor, okay? To me, that counts. Second, he looks like a guy who can get things done.
and I really didn't get the joke because, I wasn't really born around that time and I didn't know who that was. But I would say I did my research and I learned who that was, but I didn't. And a few years went by and I was scrolling on my TV and I found the movie. I see My Cousin Vinny starring Joe Pesci, so I'm like, okay, I gotta watch this now for Carlin, you know what I'm saying? I would normally try to avoid spoilers for this movie, but it has been out for like 30 plus years, so it's not my problem. The movie stars Joe Pesci, Marissa Tomei, and the current vessel for the Fountain of Youth. The gist of the movie follows a wrong place, wrong time storyline where two kids essentially get, not framed, but the police make a mistake, which happens a lot. They're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then now they're facing murder in the chair. One of the defendants has a cousin named Vinny who happens to be a lawyer. Doesn't really amount to much because it's his first time going to court. And I know what you're thinking, that he's secretly a law prodigy, a closer that will solve every single situation. But he is Joe Pesci.
He looks like a guy who can get things done.
Now, going back to the movie, the fish out of water trope is done fantastic. You've got a New Yorker who has no idea about anything other than New York and goes to the South and has no idea what's a grit. And even beyond that, it's a lawyer practicing law that he doesn't understand. I mean, he has to have basic rules of disclosure of evidence explained to him. You get an all-time performance from Joe Pesci and even an Oscar-winning performance from Marissa Tomei. The performance is so well done that I honestly think Marissa Tomei's character dynamic with Vinny is the real grit of the movie. See what I did there? It has a 2-hour runtime, which I think is one of the benefits of this movie. I think the pacing is very well done, and that 2 hours just flies by very quickly. And we spend a lot of time in the fictional town of Beecham County. I enjoy my time there, even if I probably wouldn't in real life. At the same time, I'm not going to act like this is a perfect movie whatsoever. While the jokes are funny, I think they do get repetitive. They have like a gag wheel of 3 jokes that they just rotate on loop every 5 minutes. And honestly, I would cut out a few of them for more depth of certain other characters that I felt that they underdeveloped. For example, I really did enjoy Ralph Macchio's character in jail with his best friend. I forgot what his name was, but I thought their chemistry was amazing. In fact, this might be a little bit sacrilegious, but I honestly enjoyed the first act of this movie a lot more than the later half of this movie, even the lawyer portions. I think the chemistry between the two boys is excellent, and if we got more scenes of them maybe in prison dealing with the inmates, some comedic encounters with the inmates, that would have been awesome. But for what it's worth, even Vinny and Marissa Tomei's character is done very well. I forgot her name. I think it's Mona Lisa. That can't be right. As far as the antagonist goes, you get the judge, who at worst is mildly annoying, and at the very least is just a snob. There's not really a huge antagonistic presence in the movie, which it really doesn't need at all. I mean, you could argue the lawyer or the prosecutor who Vinny is going up against, but even he's not really a bad dude. In fact, he's just doing his job, and that's actually one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie. A lot of movies could easily make the prosecutor who's just doing his job like, an asshole or a bad guy and make him really hateable, but the fact that the movie leaned on the more comedic aspects and didn't really try to make his character hateable and just made a whole mockery of the whole situation, I thought it was pretty unique, and I really enjoyed that. There's also the fact that the law is actually seemingly pretty accurate. I'm no expert or anything, but it seems to me that most of the court procedurals, like the cross-examination, the disclosure of evidence rules, the witnesses and how they're all brought up, is all fairly accurate. One thing that a little bit bothered me about this movie is that the final reveal gotcha scene, they did all of that and then only for the sheriff to come out and be like, hey, by the way, the next county, they caught him. It kind of, I felt as though the wind was taken out of her sails when literally right after, like, the sheriff was like, hey, by the way, we caught the actual culprits. And yeah, this whole thing, complete waste of time. Whoops, my bad, case closed. You know, if the sheriff just did any, like, due diligence beforehand, you know, once again, the police are incompetent in these movies. So what can I say? The movie is fast-paced, funny, and aged very well. So I'm feeling comedy 7 out of 10.